Hello, guys. Welcome to Approach the Nerd. It's your girl, Maria Park. I'm sitting in once again my sound booth because honestly, guys, it's just a hell of a lot easier since I work in here mostly 12 hours a day. So, in and out, but it's what it is. It's much quieter and I don't have to compete with the street and the sirens and all the construction that's happening right now. I do have a fan going, guys. If it's bothering you, let me know. I have a Neumann TLM 103 mic, which is very sensitive to everything in life, but it's studio standard, so I have to have it. Yada yada yada. You don't care. It's just what it is. But me and Naga are here, and I'm going to be probably while we talk about Stargirl, um, attempting to chew on one of these lollipops that I usually have in here when I'm recording because they help your mouth from keeping dry or keep you from getting dry mouth. Um, and that is a problem in a booth. So, but outside of that, hi guys. We have some stuff to talk about with Stargirl, episode 4 of season 3. So, when we left off on episode 3, Sylvester was attacked. And so we didn't know if he was dead or alive. Well, he's alive. He's been hospitalized, which I said this last week, guys. I knew it wasn't going to happen. They were not going to kill off Sylvester. So, especially when Pat was making him a suit. Come on, he's not going anywhere. But all right, so from the gist of this episode, it looks like they're trying to point the finger as the person who killed the gambler and now attacked Starman being Cindy. And the reason that they're doing this is they keep throwing these hints around. You know, she is doing some shady things. Like she has a gambler's laptop. She basically is always found, like she was found at the scene of the crime, basically when Gambler died. She's basically put herself in positions where they cannot trust her, which quite frankly they don't trust her anyway because of all the stuff she did in the past. So like it's interesting because and only because, and this is kind of where I'm at with this. They're making it too obvious that we're supposed to believe that it is Shiv that's doing all of this. And I don't think it is. I really don't. Now, does she do shady crap? Hell yeah. Of course she does. But I mean, honestly, one of the things that we saw in the end of the episode is her arm. Her arm is very scaly, like her dad, you know. So if you think about the Dragon King's daughter having like this kind of deformed looking reptilian arm, because that's what it looks like to me anyway. It looks like her body is breaking down. Maybe she's scared she's losing her humanity. And so she's desperately trying to find a cure. Like you see her in the episode still trying to get into the gambler's laptop. And I stand by what I said last week. I do not understand why she was able to find the blackmail folder, information basically about him blackmailing the Crocs. If that was so accessible, then why wouldn't her dad's files be accessible? Why would everything else, not be under lock and key? I feel like everything should have been hard. She should never have been able to sign into that laptop at all. So I guess I'm kind of confused on why it's just the folder that she needs that's locked out. So I don't know. Just, I mean, even a basic Windows sign on, if you don't know how to log into somebody's computer, I mean, hello, you're not getting in. I mean, well, there are ways around that, but you know what I mean. So I just feel like for me, it's really weird that that's the only thing she's having trouble getting into. Just putting it out there. Okay. So Sylvester's in the hospital. Courtney's feeling guilty. They're trying to figure out, who did this, who done this. Pat decided to call in a friend, which is very limited options right now because we haven't introduced the rest of the, at least right now, the rest of the JSA is that like Pat could reach out to Jay Garrick or one of the others. But he calls in, Dr. Midnighter. So the former Dr. Midnight. And Sylvester wakes up and they're talking. And he does meet with Beth too, but I'll get with that in a minute. But when he meets with Sylvester and, they're reminiscing about the old times and the old JSA, McNider says something very interesting. He's like, so, I don't know what to tell you, but your biology is weird right now. Basically, you are sucking energy from Cosmo. So Cosmo is sustaining you, which makes me wonder what happens when that cosmic energy, unless it's infinite, which, Cosmo's always been a mystery in the comics. I kind of feel like there may come a time and a place where he has to choose between Cosmo and himself. Now that's something probably a little bit down the line, but I'm just throwing it out there that it's weird because that wasn't something they did in Infinity Inc. or in the comics at all. Like they didn't do that. So it wasn't that, it's not like, other heroes where they have like the conduits for magic. Like he mentioned Jade, how Jade is literally the conduit for the Green Lantern abilities. Well, he's not that. He's not somebody that's like a battery that, basically can produce or whatever. He's feeding off of it. He's literally like a vampire. He is feeding off of Cosmo. And I don't know if it was that connection to Cosmo which kept him from, dying completely. But if that is true, that is so effed up that he was buried alive. I'm just putting it out there. Yeah, that I just find all that amazing. I still would have loved to have a clone theory. The clone thing would have been very cool. But, whatevs. It is a thing, I guess. I There's so much, guys. The whole thing with Icicle Jr. or Cameron is annoying as hell to me. The storyline annoys me. I'm so sorry. I'm trying so hard. But we just go through this whole responsibility. We're a team. We need to work together. And when Courtney gets around Cameron, she's like, phone off. Not even trying to. She just goes. And she did this last season too. But she's like realizing something's wrong with Cameron, and she's like, I want to help you. And he's like, you can't help me. And of course, he does that whole ice blast that we see in the trailer for the next episode last week, or for this episode last week. Nothing happened. She wasn't injured. So let me tell you what annoys the hell out of me about this, okay? So we all know that Courtney is lying to him by not telling him everything. So, and I don't know why this is, and this happens in a lot of CW shows. This is not just Stargirl. So I'm not just, I actually love Stargirl. I have to do this. I have to throw Arrowverse CW under the bus for a minute. For some reason, a character will flat out ask you something, and they don't even give you time to respond. They literally give you an out. So Cameron's like, how do you know how to handle this situation? And she's like, well, and he's like, so anyway, it's just like, what? It is so annoying. I'm like, just let her tell you she's Stargirl. Because she can't lie her way out of it, But it's so weird how he just takes her advice at face value when in his mind, she's just a regular, high school student. Basically he's a metahuman. How would this person know how to tell him to do anything? And the fact that he's like listening to her, and she's like, my friends and family always had me use my feelings. And I'm like, for what? Studying for geometry? I mean, hello, use your brain. Cameron can't be this slow. He cannot be this slow. Oh, Lord. And of course, his grandparents won't tell him who killed his father, but that he was killed, and they told him helping people. That's interesting. That whole thing is interesting. So I know that this is all going to blow up in her face because, secrets and lies. I mean, she has learned nothing from season 1 or season 2. So yeah, I actually think this is going to be very, very interesting. This whole season, because you can see after they got to play Cameron, he gets this look on his face when he's with Courtney where he could be really, really adorable and cute and kind of like shy, but then he gets this look on his face where he looks like Dexter Jr. basically. So I'm like, they got a good actor for this role. I don't know why he's not blonde, but that's fine. Anyway, but yeah, that aside, so him not being able to use his powers is why he's been such an a-hole. But his temper, we saw his temper. We saw what happened when he went off on the teacher last week. We saw the episode 3. We also saw what he did to Rick's car when he was ticked by throwing an icicle into the tire. So he didn't have any control over his powers, but he had enough control to do that. And I mean, the fact that he has that temper means he definitely got more than just the family, chirokinesis ability. He basically got their temper. And probably their sociopathism, because those grandparents are just nuts. They're just effing nuts. So there's that. All right, so back to McKnight, or Dr. McKnight. I love how when Sylvester said, do you miss passing that you pass the mantle off. Do you miss being Dr. McKnight and Midnight? And he's like, well, my wife and my son, and my clinic, all that keeps me rather busy. And I was wondering, because the way he said it, he was kind of like trying to get away from that point. But I was wondering if it was because his wife was like, you've been gone for all this time, you done. Like, I don't think he had a choice in the matter. It was pretty much probably between Dr. Midnight and his wife and son. So, yeah, but I love the fact that Sylvester was like, "Well, I really haven't passed my mantle on. I just kinda, alternate it," basically, which I thought was interesting. But did I not call the fact that Pat was making the damn Skyman suit from freaking Infinity Inc.? I'm telling you, they are going to, if not by the end of the season, definitely next season, they will no longer be the JSA or JSA Junior. They should whole ass be Infinity Inc. next season. That's what they should be. At least that's what they I mean, the fact that they're using so many Infinity Inc., freaking references and Easter eggs. I mean, come on. That also means that Beth would get her yellow and black suit that, technically her mother made in the comics, but her parents basically showed it to her. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of doing it. I love how her mother also was so caught up in the hype. And then when she saw, Sylvester all, messed up in the hospital, she was like, yeah, I guess we got kind of carried away, but this is the reality, basically. So now I think that Beth's going to go back. It's going to go from the parents being gung ho to now them being paranoid she's going to get hurt and then wanting her to quit. So I knew it was going to be a matter of time before something had, changed or snapped them out of it. So I'm interested in seeing what happens with that. One of the most interesting things that for me happened was, honestly, and this, I always say this every season, Yolanda's parents, her mother is just garbage. I'm sorry. She's got a garbage effing mother. So she's at home and she's talking to Rick on the phone about, basically who can do this and blah, blah, blah. They're just talking back and forth. And I think they were getting ready to go investigate to see if the Dragon King was back or whatever. And the mother walks in and she's like, "Who are you talking to?" And she's like, "Oh, Maria." And I'm like, "You weren't talking to me." Maria from the restaurant. And she's like, "I'm just want to, she wanted to know if I could take a different or an extra shift." And then her mother's like, "I only let you keep that job because your father lost his. I'm sure you told everybody." And I'm like, wow, what did you do? I know she sent a picture of herself topless, to Henry Jr. in season 1, but come on, they don't trust this girl at all. They have the lowest effing opinion of Yolanda in her own damn house. Her mother like literally talks to her like she was like resentful that she gave birth to her. She's trash. I'm like, I don't even know if I want her parents redeemed. They're just horrible damn parents. And she's like, "Oh, no, there's nobody's business, blah, blah, blah." And she's like, "Well, clean your room. The realtor's coming." And I'm like, wow. I don't understand why her mother is such garbage. And if the father doesn't have a job, then why can't the mother go get a job? Why does Yolanda have to go work part-time as a damn waitress to support? I don't get it. I don't get it. So, yeah, Yolanda's parents are trash. That's basically what I'm saying about that. And I just feel so bad because Yolanda is really a character that I feel the worst for because she's very quiet about her struggle. Like Rick is kind of quiet, but he gets angry and he has his moments where he lashes out. Yolanda doesn't say anything. But that also brings me full circle to the fact that sometimes the way she talks, especially in regards to Cindy, regardless of what Cindy did, she's the one that's supposed to be the forgiving one. She's the one that goes to church all the time and the one that tries to do everything, by the book in a way, especially when Courtney kind of goes off the rails and she feels like Courtney is like putting her naivete and, over the team and trusting people she shouldn't be trusting and all of that. She is absolutely pro the ISA not being neighbors with them. And I think that her and Sylvester, if Yolanda was Stargirl, they would have a problem if she was leader because her and Starman would be taking everybody out. That's basically how it would be. We will take turns taking everybody out. And she wouldn't have a conscience about it. She wouldn't be like, Courtney telling people not to lock the door of the house. So, it's just a thing. And then, of course, we got to see him. We keep getting little micro scenes of Mike and Jakeem trying to figure out who the killer is. So that because they want, basically, Mike wants them to be like, appreciated and recognized by the rest of the JSA and maybe become members. So he's in his feelings. And you can see it. Mike has been having a breakdown since season 1 especially when he found out that Courtney was Stargirl, because he's feeling left out. And I kind of get it, because like, let's talk about this logically, okay? Like, Pat is all about Courtney's trauma about her bio dad. But Mike's mother bailed too, and we don't ever talk about that, you know? It's like, okay, what about him and his real mom? And yes, he has Barbara as a substitute mom, but technically Courtney has Pat as a substitute dad. His own biological son, he's not paying attention to in a way, and it actually bothers me a little bit. And it's something that I said last season. I'm like, I really wanted him to have more of a connection with his son, because his son has to feel like shit. You know, his dad was a sidekick to Starman. His stepsister now, I guess stepsister, is basically Stargirl. And what does he have? He had the Thunderbolt for like a microsecond, and then Jakeem has it. So like, what happened? What does Mike have? He's supposed to be training, you know, with Stripe, but that's obviously not happening. They've been fixing him up since the season finale with Eclipso. So he hasn't been able to really do anything. And so his little stories are all kind of like either with Jakeem or a side effect of whatever's happening with the Whitmores, you know, Dugan family. That's basically what's happening. And I feel really bad for Mike. I really do. And as more people come, he's going to feel more and more pushed out. And that's why I still say that Mike is the one they need to watch for turning evil or joining the ISA eventually. If he keeps feeling like he's not getting notoriety, he's not being appreciated, and he's not being included, you know, because at the end of the day, his dad was the sidekick superhero, not Courtney's dad. So, you know, it's a thing. So I don't know, it's just something I thought about. So, I'll open the chat box in a minute, guys. I know you guys are probably talking up a storm, and I'm sorry. Trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. Oh yeah, so Beth found basically a human cell. It's either a fingerprint or a cell. I can't remember. I watched this 2 days ago. And so when she took it to analyze with Dr. Midnight, they found out that it was the DNA of course, Cindy's dad. So there, you know, at first Yolanda was like, "Oh, well, that's evidence. It's definitely Shiv," you know. and then Courtney basically tells them, "No, when you know," and we'll just say, "In the last season, when I was on the other side with Shiv, I got to see her childhood. Yeah, and it was pretty effed up, and her dad was torturing her. So I don't think she'd have anything to do with him." And everyone just got real quiet. It's like, oh, we don't have a response. There was not a snarky response or anything to that. So. But I still think they're going to make it look like her, and it's going to cause a rift between Courtney and Shiv, because Cindy really is trying to be friends with her. And like I said, she does have her own agenda, but I think her own agenda, unlike trying to form the new ISA, I really feel like her new agenda is that she's trying to live, because the way her arm looks, and she has no control over it. Like, it's growing weird. It looks like a reptilian. It looks like a Komodo dragon arm, like the skin texture. So like, I don't know. I think something is definitely happening to her, and she is desperately trying to find a solution for it. I don't think she trusts them to help her. I really don't. I think that she's going to allow them to think that she's like this big bad villain of this scenario, when she really should have been like, "Hey, Courtney, let me show you my arm. Yeah, this is effed up. What should I do?" You know, so it's a thing. Now let's talk about my favorite part of the season, and it is Paula and Barbara. They need to have their own spinoff. I feel like they spend more time around each other as friends than they do with their own spouses and family, because Barbara went to work, and the little a-hole that was her manager is being so nice. He even went and got her coffee. I'm like, yeah, that's because Paula showed up. and and it wasn't pretty. And I love how, you know, Paula's like waiting for her in the office. She's like, "Hi, how was your day? Are you having a great morning?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's really weird. Even my manager's being weird. He's giving me coffee and he's being very nice. And he even voted for my proposal." She's like, "That's great. I'm glad you're getting along well with him." And I'm like, uh-huh. And then to celebrate their friendship, Paula made something to show that she cared, because that's what you do. Remember, when you have a friend and you want to show that you care, Yeah, that's what Barbara taught her about making the German chocolate cake. It means more when you make it. So she made this like I can't remember if it was a raccoon. It was something screwed up, like some kind of taxidermy thing she did with an animal. And she's like, I made it myself. And Barbara's like, I love it. She's like terrified. This thing's sitting in her office. But quite frankly, I look at it this way. As much as I don't like seeing animals hurt, if this was an animal that was already dead, it serves a purpose now for me. And that is turning it around. So whenever that manager comes in there, there's a reminder of that could be him on a plaque, even though Barbara doesn't know that he's being nice to her because, Paula threatened him. So, and she probably did it in a very graphic way. She probably said, I will just take your spleen and wrap it around your weenie. I mean, that woman is crazy and I love it. I love Paula and Barbara's friendship. It is funny. It is the highlight. It's the comedy highlight for me because I do like Zeke, the mechanic guy who's always sharing wisdom randomly and doesn't seem to ask questions about Stripe and doesn't use critical thinking or common sense when he's driving parts of this big ass robot around in the back of his truck, not covered, like he did in the season premiere. But I do like Zeke overall because Zeke's just like, I just want to work on stuff. I don't really care what it is, so which is good and bad in a way. But like, I feel like he was kind of my comedy relief, but now it's kind of rolled over to Barbara and Paula. And I think they had to do that because we needed something else for Barbara to do now that we don't have Icicle like literally at work flirting with her every damn day. So, that's a thing. That is a thing. But yeah, overall, not a bad episode. The only other thing that I remember, and I probably forgot something, is that now that Sylvester is donning the Skyman suit, he has decided since they couldn't reach Courtney because she was off in the gazebo making out with Cameron after showing him how to use his powers because that's not suspicious at all, Cameron. They basically so Rick and Yolanda were going to go investigate, like I said, to see if the Dragon King was down in his lair, which means they're probably going to find Cindy. And he was going to lead the charge. But if next week's kind of trailer is any indicator, Sylvester does not need to be ruling anybody or leading a damn thing. That man has anger management issues galore. And I don't think it's because he's hyped up on, the Cosmo juice. I think that's just him, and the Cosmo juice just amplifies it even more. So there's a lot of anger, and that like literally, and that I think the preview for next week they say something along the lines of, "Oh, Sylvester's great. He's a lot angrier than Courtney," because he snaps. So it's going to be very interesting. But it did, seeing his Skyman suit, it did me kind of question a little bit. I questioned if we're going to have, because if you follow the comics, his converter belt used to give him abilities. Like he didn't like Sylvester never had powers on his own. He always got it from the staff or his gadgets. And so he had powers, especially he was able to fly with his converter belt. So I wonder if we're going to see that again. And I noticed that he name dropped Ted as the one giving him Cosmo's staff. So I love how accurate they're getting with Stargirl in a way. Like they don't do that with other Arrowverse shows. They really don't. Like the Flash had a little bit of his kind of golden age like storyline, but then it kind of went off the rails. So the children are wrong, like connections are wrong. It's like all these things are wrong. And with Stargirl, they take a little like tiny liberties, like they did de-age all of the Infinity Inc. members, but they still are keeping track with the actual story. And the only thing I can think of is because again, this story was modeled after, especially Courtney's character was modeled after Jeff John's sister that died. So he's very protective of this. So that's why I think it's a little bit, closer to that. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Sylvester snap next week because it's gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. All right, guys, let's go. Let's go. My old eyes. Let me make sure that I'm not in the fan here. Got my lollipop. Let's go. My mouth's already dry, guys. If you have a sound booth, get these Earth Pops. They are amazing. Courtney and Sylvester are giving Doom teen romance. The irony in that is that I don't think she ever had a crush on Sylvester in the comics, but remember Atom Smasher? He was older. She did go out with Atom Smasher, and to this day, that's very gross to me, especially as a mother. And then she also had a fling with Shazam, but they didn't realize that Shazam was actually her age because he wasn't telling his real identity. So they just thought that this 30-something-year-old guy was macking on her when she was 17. Just saying. Hello, Ship. How are you? The special effects on the show are probably the most consistent of any Arrowverse TV series. True. Now, I will say Superman and Lois comes in a pretty good second because they have a bigger budget as well. And I mean, honestly, that scene with John Henry calling on the steel suit, and it like wrapping around him like a freaking Tony Stark invention from MCU, that was cool as shit. I'm sorry. So they do have moments in Superman and Lois that are pretty damn sweet too. But yeah, I do think that overall the VFX on these are amazing, and I do wonder what's going to happen now because remember Warner Brothers apparently is broke. I don't know what's happening. I mean, if they can only afford to like release 2 movies, how is this going to affect, season 4 if we get a season 4 of Stargirl and some of the other shows they're doing? Like they don't have any money, how are they paying for anything? So, I wonder if it's going to take a huge dip in, their performance and like the kind of like their overall like quality of VFX because I really feel like that could be a thing. So this may be the best it ever gets. knock on wood. I hope that's not true. But yeah, I do agree with you. They are very cool. Hello, Mercenary. How are you? Courtney lying about her own secret is very teen drama. It will come back to bite her. It always does. It always does. And I hate, and like, I'm to be real with you. If she goes off and tells Cindy, well, you're not being truthful and you're lying, you're not being honest with us. I'm like, all of you are hypocrites. Like every last one of you do it. I don't want to hear that. I mean, honestly, I think the only one that hasn't done it so far is Beth, and that's because she hasn't had any juicy enough information to do it. But yeah, all of them hide secrets. Like Rick was hiding Grundy for the longest time. Yolanda hides everything, especially from her parents. But to be fair, I would hide stuff from the parents as well. But she's not telling her friends what's going on because she's, it's more of a pride thing. It's not that it's nobody's business. It's a pride thing. You don't want to tell your friends that you have to sell your house because your father lost his job and all of this stuff. So she's just going about her life, acting like everything's fine. But I still do not get how she's getting out at night and not being caught with these parents. I didn't understand it in season 2. I really didn't understand it in season 1, and I just don't understand it now. So that's a whole other thing. But yeah, tons of teen drama. I'm actually wondering if Cameron is going to be the leader of the new ISA and Cindy was a red herring. I mean, why not? I mean, he was Icicle Jr. was definitely in ISA too. So, I mean, at this point, Arrowverse is like the MCU. They do their own chat. So, I could see that being a thing. Okay, let's see here. Cameron, not emotionally stable to handle this truth right now. The scene in the classroom proved it. Yeah, but the problem is, and it will be really effed up too, because if she really told the truth, like she was like, oh yeah, so my brother killed your dad. He kind of hit him with a car. Yeah. She would put a target on Mike's head for sure. I don't understand why Mike's not in therapy for killing Icicle. He should have like so many issues. I know we had all of season 2 and Eclipso stuff, which also was bad. Why isn't Mike in therapy? I feel like everyone like Pat's so consumed with worrying about Courtney, and you need to worry about your damn son. Like you really do. If I have one thing that irritates me is how he treats his son and how Mike's treated in this. It's kind of bad. It's very, very bad. And then they'll have nobody to blame when he turns out, going evil. Because it's his choice, obviously, but the motivation he'll absolutely be them, especially Pat. Well, not Barbara. Barbara actually acts more like his biological parent than Pat does. It's very interesting. I'm team Paula and Barbara. Yeah, being besties. The taxidermy scene was both sweet, funny, and creepy. It was. I mean, it was adorable. Like Paula was so excited. Seeing tigers excited can be horrifying, but in this case, it was very sweet. And one thing we do know is if somebody tries to break into their house, Tigress is going to be. Yeah, we already know it's going to happen. Oh, I forgot something. It just popped into my head. So like Sylvester and Pat were watching a Western movie, and then Sportsmaster comes over with beer, and he starts talking, and so, he drops the beer off, and he actually says, I'm basically, we didn't do it. It wasn't us. We didn't put you in the hospital, blah blah. And to be honest, whenever we were out doing some, breaking the law, basically, we never wanted to run into Starman. Got tired of getting our asses kicked. So he said that, and then Starman basically invited him to grab a beer, and they all started watching the Western together. And I'm like, huh, what is happening? I love the Crocs. I do not want the Crocs to go back to being evil. I really want them to stay as they are, the in-betweens. Not good, not bad, completely. I want them to stay that way. And I want Paula and Barbara to still be friends. Because if they're not, I'm going to be so damn irritated. I really am. Because they literally make all of these other villains freaking superheroes. Like, in what universe is Killer Frost a fucking superhero? Only the Arrowverse. So, yeah, I'm being my feelings, guys. I will be in my feelings if they get rid of Tigress, and Sportsmaster and Artemis. I will be very upset. Have you heard about the Stargirl and Titans crossover? I would be way more excited for it if Titans wasn't such a messy show. Hey, it may be messy, but this means that this is going to be darker. So there's that. Aren't Titans in Gotham now? And I think the Doomsday is going to be in with them too, which will be funny as hell, by the way. I'm wondering if Sylvester just leaves and starts his own new group, Infinity Inc. That's what he needs to do. But honestly, though, he doesn't have to leave because all the members of the GSA Junior are all Infinity Inc. members. So, shouldn't be hard. Dr. McNider is lucky that his wife didn't remarry in the time he was gone. I know. That girl was dedicated. That or tired. I'm like, I don't know. Why is Yolanda's mother not working? Exactly. What's your excuse? She's fucking, excuse me, I'm dropping F-bombs today. She is a waste of space. That mother, when she walked in that room and she was like, you probably told everybody. What is wrong with you? Who hurts you, woman? I'm like, honestly, you hate your kid. That's what it is. You hate your kid. Problematic. Donna's parents are horrible. And I'm like, she's even bringing the bread and you're still treating her badly. Yep. And it's so bad because if you read in the comics, her mother's not like that at all. I hate when they take good parents and make them shit in shows. It's so horrible. Have you seen the new Stargirl trailer in CW's site? Jade is coming back. I haven't seen it, but I already knew that she's coming back because Obsidian's coming or is already there. I think that whole group, or whatever we're calling them, I don't remember what we're calling them. Dr. Love, Dr. Holt, whatever. We know Dr. Bones or Mr. Bones, or Director Bones, however you want to call it, or call him, is definitely there. We also know that somebody else is there, and it looks a lot like Dragon King that's looking at those monitors. Now, I don't think it is him, but I mean, again, you never know. There could be another villain pulled out of, Stargirl, Infinity, obscurity, and bam, that's it. Or another ISA member we're not thinking about, but there's someone else there. And they're just making it look so like they first made us think it was Grundy. Now they're trying to put all the blame on Cindy. They're making all the evidence go in that direction. And it's just too obvious. When it's too obvious, it's not the right answer. So yeah, I think that there's some shadiness going on and I'm here for it. I hope we figure it out way before they actually announce what it is though. The Crocs continue to entertain me. They entertain us all. They are absolutely effing hilarious. I would let them house sit. Oh, I really would. Cindy turning into her father is probably her worst nightmare come to life. Abs-effing-lutely. They expanding way more on Cindy's character than they ever did in the comics. I know. You're absolutely, but this is a good thing because how many times have we seen characters over the years in Arrowverse that don't have that Mr. Terrific? And then, how many characters do we see, even now in the Arrowverse that don't have? Well, they reinvent characters. Like if you're a metahuman, like Chester, and then they have an Arrowverse version of you, and you're not a metahuman, and everything that made you is completely different. Like Chester's supposed to be 300 pounds and opening warp like kind of wormholes in time or space. Instead, he's basically Cisco too. So I'm used to them reinventing characters instead of expanding on character stories. So the fact that Cindy's getting all this exposition, I'm here for it. I mean, I'm glad they do. They need to do something. If you're gonna force feed us some damn villain rehabilitation like they do in every series, then why not? I mean, don't get me started on Naomi. Her biggest rival turned out to be her mentor in the Arrowverse. Like literally, her Lex Luthor was her mentor in the damn series. Like so. I tell you. Jeff Johns making the show is probably the most vital creative decision on the show's part. I don't think it would be as good if another showrunner had made the show. I agree with that. Having him be involved every step of the way is absolutely true. Even with Stargirl nitpicks, I enjoy watching it way more than I did the Charm reboot. Imagine if Jeff Johns had made the Charm reboot and actually had a series for the show. Yeah, that would be cool. I will tell you this, only because you brought this up, Shipping. I play Sims 4, and I don't know if it was yesterday, but I just took a break from work and I was just playing a quick game. I got some kind of mod and I was messing with it. And I guess in this mod, you could like put in things from anime and TV shows. And somebody made the effing Charmed house. And when I went in, there was Phoebe and Prue and Piper were all on the couch together. And I'm like, this is insane. So I got to go visit the Charm house in Sims 4. Just made my day. Just threw that out there. But yeah, I don't know. I had no problem with season 1 and season 4 of Charmed reboot. Season 2 and 3 were problematic. I mean, we did get introduced to Jordan and Abigail, and I love those characters, but yeah, the showrunners were garbage. So they just were garbage. But it is what it is, I guess. We got a Ted Knight reference. Yep. Maybe we'll see him. I hope so. If we can't get Ted, then I want Jack, because he officially gave the staff to Courtney. She didn't just have to get approval from Sylvester. She had to get it from Tim Starman's son. The original, I guess. We're watching Stargirl, and he's watching the show on those cameras. I mean, well, I mean, it would be really funny though if like the guy who's like, or whoever the villain is like got all these monitors, and one of them he's playing a video game, like new Pokemon game coming out or whatever. I mean, they should make this like real life. I'm sure villains have switches too. Just saying. The T is Yasla and priming WB to sell it to the universe. Oh, to Universal. Oh, Yaslav is priming WB to sell it to Universal Studios, which explains all the weird cancellations. Discovery doesn't care. Universal also already has Peacock, so they don't need HBO Max. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, they better not cancel Peacemaker. Just saying. Mike killing Icicle is going to definitely ruin Courtney and Cameron's relationship. Last season, Cameron coming after him for revenge was Mike's biggest fear. Yep. Mm-hmm. And not just him, though. The grandparents, too. Because remember, the grandparents didn't say... And this is what something else I thought was interesting about Cameron's verbiage in the episode. I don't know if you guys caught this, but he was like, my grandparents want me to use my abilities to help people. That is not what they effing said. They said, it's going to be time for you to get back at our enemies. That's what they said. I don't know what Cameron was hearing. Like, your grandparents are vindictive as shit. So, it's going to be interesting. That fight in the grocery store was awesome. Yeah, yes, last week it was epic. And like, I was right. I'm pretty sure that was the town's only grocery store. Because Pat's like, you took out the grocery store, like the only grocery store in the whole town. I'm like, well, we're all eating at the diner from now on. Titans have been trying to get to San Francisco for 4 seasons. Oh, I'm behind on Titans, guys. That's funny. I'm going to have to binge Titans. I know people are telling me not to. I'm going to have to do it. Looking forward to seeing an interaction between Cameron, Sylvester, and Mike. Yeah, it's like Mike doesn't even live in the damn house, right? He's like, that's what it feels like. I mean, Sportsmaster sees him more than Sylvester does. I was cracking up when Sylvester was in the hospital bed and was like, "I have determined the enemy is really strong." Yep. Which we already knew. Hello, Kevin. How are you? I meant Friday. We got what you meant. Happy Friday. Hello, Latino. How are you? Many are saying Zeslov isn't as interested in doing that. What makes sense for WB creatively as much as he's interested in flipping it. He might be in his feelings because he's not Kev Finey. Or Kevin Finey, should I say. And for some reason, I really wonder what DCEU would look like with James Gunn if he had decided to take the helm, because what he did with Peacemaker was effing amazing. And Peacemaker is not as huge of a character as any of the Golden Age DC characters. So just imagine under his, like, I won't say control, but leadership of the DCEU. A lot of that shit would have fallen. I think he would have got rid of the Flash. He'd be like, we don't need Ezra Miller. We can recast. We have the technology. I'm like we'll just redo the shots that he is in and keep all the other ones and just move on. The grandparents are always giving mafia vibes with meta power. The grandma is even scary. She is scary. It's like the grandfather's come like, yes, dear. She's homicidal as hell. Look, she looks like she wants to kill everybody like every minute of every day. And she probably does. I mean, their son had the temper. He has the family temper. So, I don't know. If you binge Titans, it will be the new Charmed return of the angered grandma. See, why you want to do that to me and my blood pressure? I don't know. Hello, Ray. The grandma is the more scary villain of the series. Yeah, I mean, hell, maybe she's the one that killed the gambler. I mean, technically, if you use ice, it could be pretty strong. Now, it would also be very wet, so never mind when it melted. So never mind. I love the fact that the opening scene with Cameron, and he had Courtney in the snow globe, and he dropped it. It melted. I was so used to so many like shots where people would use some kind of like ice ability and it just stayed ice, forever. But this one actually had some realism to it. Ice starts melting really effing quickly. We know this because when we put it in our freaking drink without a tumbler that preserves the coldness of the ice, it's laws of physics. It's gonna melt. So I actually love that they did that. So I'm pretty excited. Yes, Peacemaker is a beautiful show. Absolutely love it. It is my favorite DCEU, property actually to date. I love everything about it. And I'm really hoping, because they have a season 2, that they don't renege on that and then say, hey, we don't have the money for this. Holler. That would be very upsetting. Titans is great. It's just that they only spend maybe 1 or 2 episodes a season all together in one place. Why? That's kind of stupid. Are his ice powers magic or meta? He's basically, they're saying it is genetic, so that's meta. It's definitely not. It can't be magical if you're not summoning stuff. If you don't have, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not, there's no way that is actually legitly considered magic. He's not a wizard and his name isn't Harry. So no. I think that if we're going by genetics, then he is a metahuman. But which is so irritating. Again, I'm just going to throw it out here, guys. Yolanda is supposed to be a metahuman. They made her human. I do not know why. She did not get her feline fighting abilities from a damn suit. She got it because she was genetically altered by the gynecologist at OBGYN that her mother was going to. He was experimenting on all of his patients, and a lot of them were born with like deformities. A lot of them became metahumans that were pretty badass, and she was one of them. So like, not having that storyline in is annoying to me. Why couldn't she just be a metahuman? I understand that. I mean, I get it. I understand that you don't want her to have a connection to the predecessor of Wildcat, but I mean, he was her effing godfather in the comics. It doesn't make any damn sense. Why change something like that stupid and that small, non-consequential? I don't understand that. You kept Shiv like technically, I can't say she's a metahuman because she was made in a lab. Um, then again, I'm gonna have to go back because I did mention something about her having some kind of an ability when she was little, and that her father expanded on it and tortured her and messed and altered her body. Basically, she's Nebula. That's what she is. She's basically Nebula. But it's so weird to me. It's just very weird to me. So I don't know. So that was your question too, meta or magic. I'm gonna stick by genetics. When you start telling me it's genetically in your family, that's passed on, that is genetic. In my comic series or webtoon that's coming out, all of their powers are passed from their fathers, and it's all genetic. So everybody has a power from their father. So yeah, I was getting Frost Giant vibes in the season one speech by the father. Yeah. Well, that or Cameron's gonna start singing Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. The Homecoming have genetically inherited abilities in DC also, though. True. Oh, the Homecoming, the home emoji. No, this is true, but I still think it's just that there's something genetically about them that gives them that ability. I'm sticking by genetic. I don't think traditionally he is the It's so hard because if you go by X-Men rules, he's definitely a mutant. He's a mutant. But if you don't go by that, he's just it's a genetic inheritance. So, like blue eyes and red hair, just an anomaly, I guess, is rare, but that's what it is. Yolanda's power with the helmet makes no sense. However, I do love her the most of the team. Best fight scenes before Starman and the Crocs. She does have the best fighting ability, and like I said, I love Yolanda. I just don't like when they write her angry all the time. But I guess if I lived in the house she lives in, I'd probably be angry all the time too. Because I mean, her mom is trash. Her dad, we don't even see him right now. I don't. If he could have been in the room with them too. He didn't have a job. Where was Daddy? I mean, where's her brother? He was the only one that was worth anything. Even Grandma sucked in her house. So I'm just really curious on what's happening with that. But it's a thing. I am trying desperately to play catch up with all my videos, guys. I've been editing videos like crazy in between. I just been getting this is not a bad thing because we got to pay bills. I've been getting lots and lots and lots and lots of auditions. Like I am in this booth so much, it is crazy. Knock on wood, not trying to jinx myself to not get work in auditions, but I've been getting auditions like crazy. I get auditions for stuff that I probably shouldn't get auditions for. I think I talked about this before. I get a lot of stuff that's Korean because my last name is Park, and even when I try to explain to them that I'm only Korean through marriage, it doesn't seem to register, so I keep getting it. So it's a thing. But I'm getting a lot of work, and I just recently, as of 4 days ago, signed with a new agency. So I've been getting a lot more work than I was getting before. So yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. So I'm trying, guys. I am trying. I'm trying. Did I skip something? No, I didn't. We did that one. Remember Young Justice is your friend. I effing love Young Justice. I wish they did that live action, but then it scares me because if they did a live action, I don't know how well that would go because they would definitely butcher that cartoon. Let's get those auditions and get your money. I'm trying. I am trying. Just today, I got 3 video game auditions, and I have till midnight to turn 3 character auditions. Because when you get auditions, sometimes they come in like multiples, which is always fun because you have to create a character for 4 different characters and then send them in. So it's just record them, edit it, send it in. And so it's crazy. It is a lot of work. I love it, but it's a lot of work. And sometimes it's very draining when you got a lot of stuff going on in your life, which you guys know I do. So I'll tell you, me, guys. But I have not forgotten all the stuff that I owe you guys. I know I owe you my Batwoman video, like how I would have presented Ryan Walder's Batwoman. I know I still owe you my Wildcat video. I have these. They are not going away. I just got to get. I just need time. I wish I had, like, another me that could just do stuff while I'm doing something else. It would be helpful. I got so busy yesterday, guys, and the day before, I still haven't watched the new She-Hulk, which is why you don't have a stream yet. I have to watch it with River tonight. I finally have a break after I do these characters. Somewhere like 8 or 9 tonight, I can watch She-Hulk, and then I can do a stream on it tomorrow because I haven't watched the new episode yet. I have time. Did not have time. It's a thing, guys. It is a thing. Most of the time, animators will handle adapting comics better than live action productions. This is true. That is really true, especially if you're really passionate about it. Now, I know this is not the same because, like, I really feel like this is a fair comparison, but I know it's not picture text, to basically, animation. This is more like video game to animation, but you can definitely tell by watching like Arcane, for instance, just how passionate the creators and such were, in terms of adapting these specific characters from this game. And it makes you wonder after Arcane, because we're getting Arcane season 2, how many other character story arcs are we gonna get because it was so successful? Because there's a ton of lead characters that my daughter introduced me to story-wise that I think would be amazing to do stories about. So, I don't know. I would be excited to see how if they did a Young Justice live action show, I'd be excited to see how they do it, but if they did it, I definitely wouldn't want Arrowverse to do it. Because if Arrowverse did Young Justice, somebody would be a cousin of a cousin. Another person would live with their parents and have a rough life, even though they didn't have parents before. All the connections would not be, they wouldn't exist. It would be really. Sorry about that, guys. I have no idea why. StreamYard was like, "Are you done?" And just like, oh, then I had to click no, and it popped me back in. I've never seen that before. Huh? We're not even at an hour. I want my money back. I'm like, sorry about that. Let's see. Where was I? Because I think the problem with the CW has been the lack of quality control. They were Okay, they were making so many shows that the quality of those shows actually got lost in the shuffle. I would only go by that if, and this is just me now, I'm playing devil's advocate, they didn't have their own production teams. Like, this is what I don't get. Like, if you look at stuff like Stargirl, which I know again did not start originally with with CW and the Arrowverse. They had a small team and they were able to make it work. And if you know what you're doing going in, then it's not a problem. But the problem is you hire writers that don't know shit about comics, or if they do, they don't care. They don't take time to research anything, and they just go in and write it like they're writing the next episode of Dynasty or some shit. It's just stupid. I'm sorry. And so a lot of the problems that I've had with the Arrowverse, it's not the acting, it's not the characters, it's the effing writing. So, yeah, that's the problem with them. It's not quality control. It's this rotating writer problem they have. And they take one writer and they throw him over here. You're going to write for Flash this week. Oh, no, you're going to go over here and write for Naomi. Oh, you're definitely going over and write for Batwheel Woman. What? you know, I feel like the only one that did not do that initially was Black Lightning because they were in Atlanta. And that's why they had more control over their stories. And their stories weren't bad. You just really felt like, unfortunately, Jeffrey and Lynn were gonna like end up on Jerry Springer half the damn time. But at the end of the day, the stories per se were not bad. And that's because they had they had their own writing team. I mean, that's just it. So I don't know. That's always gonna be like a point of contention for me because I've always thought I went to film school. So, my degree is in film and screenwriting. So, like, I'm not saying I'm the best writer on the planet, and anybody that claims that they are full of shit. I don't care who you are. There's always a learning curve, and you're always gonna learn. So, I can write shit stories like the next person, but, like, I will I will take accountability for that, and I would never put myself in a position to write something I didn't know a damn thing about, and that is the problem that I have. because I know writers have to write and it's a big opportunity for them. But if you don't know what you're doing and talking about, and you're just writing something and pulling it out of your ass, and you know it doesn't make a lick of damn sense with the whole over, continuity and plot of a show, why are you doing it? Because it just your reputation is on the line. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. But whatever. Whatever. Let's see if the CW focused on having 8 so great shows rather than just throwing everything at the wall of the shows, would it be better? Well, I agree that they should have focused on a couple of shows at a time, or get people that knew about the show, give them a pop quiz, or get comic book writers to actually write it. Go to DC and get them to write scripts for CW. Concept. Like, just saying, I'm sure they would have liked the extra money. The number one problem with the CW, it's the CW. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The Flash would be way better if the show actually tried to evolve and grow as a series, but the writers didn't want to change the show's structure and move it forward. I know. Plus, again, the creative choices there are interesting. Why couldn't we just have the twins, Dawn and Dawn? Why did we have to have the grandson or the nephew and the granddaughter? All this shit was stupid. Like, Wally was not Iris's sister. Bart is not their child. And Nora doesn't even effing exist. XS is not Nora. And I love how they have Reverse Flash say, Dawn, oh, you're the other timeline. And I'm like, oh, so you're telling us there's a better timeline out there. Cool. So you just established that this Flash is not Prime Flash. Good to know. The CW needs to overhaul their writing department. Yep. And how it works. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend also had its own writing team that weren't connected, to the other show. They simply focused on that show. And Crazy Ex-Girlfriend was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I wish they were still doing more seasons of that show. It was completely on crack. I miss the W as a network. We had Buffy, Angel, Smallville, Supernatural when it was good. Gilmore Girls. The CW is like the ugly stepsister to what the WB was. That's true. Cinderella, or WB in this case, they married the prince or princess and moved on. And now we have Helga. Well, now Helga's a good name. I actually loved Helga and Hey Arnold. Never mind. Ilga. We have Ilga now. It's the CW. Interesting is one way to describe the choices that Flash writers made. I was trying to be nice. Do you think people who write for the CW admit to their families that they write for the CW? No. They have a writing pseudonym. I would. If I was poor and I really needed that check, I'm like, my name is not Maria Park. My name is Mariah Fark. I'm like, yes, Mariah Fark. That's it. Or fart, whatever. But no, like I said, I really could tell. Like, if you look at the writers on Batwoman, for instance, and you just start looking at some of their names, you'll start seeing them pop up on the Flash too. It's creepy. It's creepy. But I don't care anymore because honestly, the only shows I like now on the Arrowverse is Stargirl. And I say shows in the plural. I don't even know why. Well, okay, I do like Superman and Lois. I am worried about Superman and Lois, but we got a new Jonathan, so I'm very curious to see what they do with him, especially since I think this season coming up is supposed to be more Jonathan focused, which maybe that means we get Prime Superboy. I don't know. Because it's really weird to have a Jonathan Kent with no powers and have a whole ass Jordan Kent that never existed in the comics with all the powers, who basically still reminds me of Brightburn. No, they kind of 180'd him. Maybe because they were bringing in the alternate, universe version of Jonathan Kent, Superboy, as pretty much Brightburn. So that's probably why they did that. But at the same time, I mean, come on. But I am very curious to see how this new Jonathan Kent works out, especially since in real life he's Australian, because that's what we do. That's what we do. I do wonder if the new CW owners will turn it into a conservative channel that is devoid of only diversity. I mean, hell, there already are. Let's like show some hands here. Let's all raise our hands. How many queer people are in Stargirl? How many queer people are in Superman and Lois? Oh, none. Absolutely none. Unless they hook up Yolanda and Cindy or Barbara leaves, Pat for Paula. I'm getting shit. So, yeah. A lot of people will tell you there's strong evidence that the only reason that Stargirl and Superman and Lois are still on air are because they don't have queer people in them. And they actually are they have token minorities. They have the one black girl and they have the one Hispanic girl, and that's it in Stargirl. Everybody else is white. Well, Cindy's technically Eurasian. I think she's half white and supposed to be half white and half Asian. But yeah, all the JSA members were white. Technically, Tigress is Asian, so and Artemis. But I mean, if you really think about it, though, even still, there's a lot more white people in it than there are minorities. But the key factor for me is not just POC; it is absolutely LGBTQ plus. There's not one LGBTQ plus character in Superman and Lois or in Stargirl. So yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. Can I say agenda? Can I say it? Can I say that's an agenda? Why you gotta make everybody heterosexual? Why you pushing your lifestyle on us? Just saying. Yeslo comes off as one of those boomers who has a snobby attitude towards hero fiction. Well, then he should fucking do something about it. Like if he wants to be the next Kevin Feige, then he needs to do it correctly. If not, if you can't, what do they say? Either shit or get off the pot. Just saying. If you can't do it, pass it to somebody else. I really hope Jonathan gets telekinesis instead if they give him powers. I would love that. I think that would be very cool. As long as he can still fly. Because again, I'm still pissed off at Clark for treating his sons differently. He treats Jordan like the damn golden child because he has his powers, and that's bullshit. And he does. He repeatedly does it. The Flash has really went beyond the prime, and it's sad. Such a great show, just a lot of poor character directions. Yep, bad writing. And focusing on people that should not even be in the Flash. Caitlin should not be in the Flash. Killer Frost was not an ally ever to the Flash or to anybody else in the DC universe. She joined the Justice League in one comic run. She has always been with Suicide Squad. If she wasn't with Suicide Squad, she was doing her own stuff or she was at Arkham. There was no in between. You'll have all this character development for a character that was never meant to be a hero and was never meant to be on Team Flash. Vibe technically is the same, even though Vibe has a little bit more of a leg to stand on because Vibe at one point was with the Justice League. And he's a villain, but he was also with the Justice League. So I don't know why they do that shit. I really don't. I don't get it. I think they just looked at Danielle Panabaker and she's friends and they're like, well, we need to put you in some capacity. Ooh, what if we did this? I mean, they could have really chosen anybody, but whatever. Let's see. Did I get through all of them? Yay, because we're at an hour. And the reason I'm saying that, guys, is because I have an audition I have to do. I don't want to do them, but I have to because if I don't, I can't make dinner. And I'm hungry. But guys, I want to thank you for being in this stream. Be on the lookout in the morning. So tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to have a stream for She-Hulk. I just haven't set it up, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to set it up until tomorrow morning. But I am going to do one around 2 or 3 tomorrow. So be on the lookout for the She-Hulk because I have 2 episodes that we didn't talk about. So this week's and last week's. So we get to talk about that and all the nerd news that we find. So, because that's what we do. If you want to talk about a comic, we'll talk about a comic, whatever. You'll have me for at least an hour and a half. So, and considering the She-Hulk is only 20 to 30, well, actually on my thing, I think it's only like 40 minutes long. I don't have to go look. It's very short. I mean, it goes by very quickly. So once we talk about that and speculations, we still have a little bit of time to talk about whatever we want to talk about in the nerd world. So we will do that. Yay, yay, yay. But yeah, I gotta go. If there are things we didn't talk about, questions, concerns, theories on what's gonna happen the rest of the season for Stargirl, or who you think killed the gambler and attacked Starman, even though he is still shady, and I still think he's up to something. It's just me. Just let me know in the comments below, and we will talk about it. And if it is day for you, have a very good day. If it is night for you, have a very good night. And I will see you in the next video and stream tomorrow. Bye, guys.